Okay, so we won't go that long today. Maybe I'll go another 10 minutes. So we're going to get out a little bit early. But I still want to get to a point because on Monday, and please, for those of you listening to my YouTube, bring your laptop on Monday because we're going to do Microsoft Access. Okay, we're going to fire that up. That is a relational database. So we're going to apply kind of what the concepts that we've learned so far. So we've learned, that relational databases consist of tables and files, and in those tables and files we have records or rows. Those rows are made of columns or fields. Inside those fields we have characters, and characters are made of bytes, and bytes are made of bits. So that's the hierarchy. And we said, by tying these together in such a way, we can build these very sophisticated data architecture structures. And what do we call the unique identifier in a table? The field that uniquely identifies a row or a person or a record in a table. What do we call that field?
Primary key?
It's called the primary key. And the primary key, when we refer to it from another table back to that primary key, what do we call that key that points back to, hey, what's student? Yes, Ms. Sweeney?
Foreign key?
It is called the foreign key, okay? So that is what we need to know. So a database is made up of tables or files, relationships, and then metadata or data about data. So let's just talk for a second about what a database management system is, okay? So we know what a database is. We know what a database is, and usually it's drawn like a cylinder because it's representing like hard disk space. It's like stored on a hard disk, on a hard drive somewhere. We have something that goes around it called a database management system. Okay, database management system. So the database itself is the structure, the thing that's stored. The database management system is kind of a program around the database that is used to administer it. And it gives us some certain functionality. It gives us the ability to do some things. So what are database management systems? Well, here are some vendors that have database management systems. IBM, Microsoft, Oracle, and we talked about some of these. IBM's is called DB2, Access and SQL Server. From Microsoft, we're going to use Access in class. It's a personal desktop database management system. And Oracle, which is huge. They're the Cadillac system. Like these are Oracle databases are, Fortune 500 companies run Oracle. And MIS102, which is an open source, okay? MIS102 is an open source. So I used to teach database management class. We used to use MIS102 as an example because it was open source and free. So what do we do with database management systems? There are basically 4 operations that the systems allows us to do against the database. The first one is read it, right? Because we stored this information, we want to be able to read it. Remember we talked about retrieve? We want to add to it. That's insert, okay? We want to put in a new student. So we update the record, we add a record. We may want to modify it. Maybe some data has changed. Someone changed your last name, we want to modify it. And we want to delete data. So pretty much anything you can do in a table, like in Excel, is what we do with the database management system. The database management system can control those things. Now, if I wanted to communicate with someone from France, I would use French. That's the language that we would communicate with. Someone from Spain, I would use Spanish. When we communicate with databases, what's a nice thing is a language that we use to communicate with databases. And it kind of goes across all those relational databases. Oracle uses this language, Access uses this language, MySQL uses this language. And the language is called SQL, okay, which stands for Structured Query Language. What's a query? Query me this. What's a query? What's query mean? SAT vocab, what's a query? Query is a question, okay? So it's a structured question language, basically. It's allowing me to question the database, okay? So it's called SQL, sometimes called SQL, depends who you're talking to. It's an international standard, and basically it's a language that we use to communicate with a database. We can use it to ask it a question. Show me all the juniors at St. Francis University that are from Virginia that have a GPA greater than 3.0. Okay, that's a query. And I can ask the database that question, and it'll return me the results. Okay, that's what SQL is about. It's about getting information, communicating with the database. This is an SQL or a SQL statement that's inserting into a table. insert into the student table. In the row is going to, you're going to use student number, student name, homework 1, homework 2, and midterm. Okay, the student number is 1,000, Franklin Benjamin's the name, and here are Franklin Benjamin's scores. Okay, so that's an insert SQL statement. Now, what is also nice about a database management system is on top of that, okay, we can build what's called database applications. And most people aren't like me or technical people. They don't want to look at SQL or SQL. They don't want to look at like the coding of it. They want to look at an interface that is better for a human, right? And database management systems, we can build applications on top of them. And we're going to do this in Access as well, build a little application. And applications consist of these 4 things, which I know you've seen before. Well, these 3 things, actually. A form. Okay, what's a form? Anytime you enter anything into a website, that's a form. When I go into Google and type in Google Baseball, that's a form, right? Only one text box. If you buy something from Amazon, it asks for your name, your address, your credit card, that's a form. It's a way for it to communicate with you, right? It says, here, give me this data this way. Maybe it has drop downs, maybe it has a mask for phone numbers so it knows you want area code, exchange, number, right? Or social security number, you want three digits, 2 digits, 4 digits. So that's what a form is. It's a way for us to present data to someone or to query data from a person. It's a way that database applications communicate with people. The next one is reports. Okay, a report is when we query this database, it might return the information as what we call like a table. It's like a spreadsheet, right? But what does a spreadsheet not have that a report might have? What would a report have that a spreadsheet wouldn't have, or a data file? What would reports have that the spreadsheets don't always have? What do reports have? When you think about a report versus a spreadsheet download, what's the difference between those things? Yes?
Would a report have more information, whereas a spreadsheet has data?
Right, a spreadsheet is basically a dump of, here are the results, right? And it might have the title for all those fields, but a report would have like page numbers, it would have a title for the report, and we could do that with a spreadsheet, but then it's becoming more of a report. We might be able to like do different sorts and different subtotals on a report. There might be something at the end that says, here are the cumulative results. So a report is just a way to take the results of a query, and that's what we'll talk about next, and put it in a format that's easily readable by humans, that we can print out, that we can review and understand what's going on. It's a way of going from data to information. We'll talk about that a little bit. And the third one we've already talked about. Okay? The third one is a query, and that's a question. It's a search based upon data values provided by the user. I want to see all the juniors from Virginia that have a GPA greater than 3.0. That's a query. Okay? It allows us to question the database. And finally, the last thing is applications. Applications provide the security to make sure we don't overwrite data, we don't have any kind of conflict, and it's special purpose processing, handle out of stock situations. So it's software we layer on top of the database. So I wanted to get to that point, and you guys are going to get out 8 minutes early. So Monday, I do want you to all bring your laptops in. I got to make sure your laptops have access. Do your laptops have access? That'd be a big letdown. I think they do.
What does access look like?
Your does? Okay.
What does access look like?
I don't know what color it is. What color is the icon?
It's like pink.
Yeah.
Do I have it?
Well, just swipe, right swipe,
It's not, it wouldn't be there.
and then search for access.
I don't have it. It would be under N.
With Microsoft Access.
Yeah,
what
I'll
do
be
you
under
want?
Microsoft. You got it all right. Good.
I don't have
You don't?
it. It didn't look like I had it either, but then I took it in that search bar and it came up.
All right.
It's right.
So I will see you guys on Monday. Bring your laptops.
Is it a free thing, or you can just?
It should be. It's not a free thing. It's proprietary software. But I believe when you guys get Microsoft Office from St. Francis University, it comes with access. It's supposed to.
Yeah, but I gotta get better.
All right. We can take a look. What do you mean? You don't have a St. Francis laptop?
Yeah.
Oh, it should be on there.
I do.
It should be on there.
It was like 2.5 years ago.
Oh, yeah, it should be on there, yes. You might have an older version, but it's on there.
Alright.
Hey, have a good weekend, Earl. You limping, Earl?
No, we're good, we're good.
Just tired.
He was awake, he answered my text at 7:30.
Why were you texting him at 7:30? Tell him to get up.
Because I didn't know, I got confused as to what the quizzes were due.
Mm.
No, I wrote quizzes due on like a different day, but I didn't know what subject it was for.
See you, Frank. Have a good day.
You too.